Why are 25 crore workers coming together for a Bharat Bandh? What are the key allegations and how are they demanding to get it resolved? How big is this dissent and protest that we are seeing, and what are the implications associated with it? Today on 9 July 2025, there is a nationwide general strike, Bharat Bandh, that is taking place, and 25 crore workers are expected to participate and beyond. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we will be understanding that what are the key allegations for which this Bharat Bandh has been called, what are the participants here we see, and also what are the constitutional and legal provisions associated with strikes and bandhs. Let us start with understanding this today's strike that is happening. So basically it is a nationwide general strike which has been called by forum of almost 10 trade unions together, and the scale of participation is going to be one of the biggest that we have seen, that we are expecting that 25 plus crore workers are going to come in for the participation. Now, if we talk about this particular bandh, we have to understand the reason of scale of participation is not just because of the number, but the workers that are coming, not only from formal sector. When we are talking about banking and insurance workers or postal services, but also the informal sector where we have coal mining and factory workers, gig workers, and then we also have rural and farm unions coming together, and these workers are being supported by multitude of trade unions. Here we have many trade unions such as AITUC, we have SEWA, we have HMS, we have U2UC. All these trade unions have come together to declare today that we are going on a general nationwide strike. That means they have many reasons to come together, where such organizations, forums, as well as workers are coming together that, okay, the grievances we hold are multitude in number and also they are similar. That is why they are able to come into a particular singular group where they are striking. Now, let us try and understand what are the key allegations for which they are coming together. Now, if we talk about the key allegations, there are multiple reasons that have been stated. However, if we talk about the broader reason, it has been said that the government at present is anti-worker, anti-farmer and pro-corporate policies making. So, they have said this is the basic objective focus of this particular Bharat Bandh, that the joint forum of 10 central trade unions, they have come together. Now, when we are talking about the highlights, the reasons of this particular objective, the first one being privatization drive that has been seen at the end of the government. In recent times, we have seen rapid sale of public sector undertakings, be it LIC, be it Air India, BPCL, and we have seen, if not the sale, then we have seen disinvestment. Sometimes it is strategic disinvestment, sometimes it is a minor disinvestment we are seeing. That means public sector undertakings are being privatized, they are given into private player hands. That brings a question of job insecurity, where a job was promised in terms of government working, security was also promised. Furthermore, the core services, even with railways, banks and telecom, are being given to private contractors, and trade unions are clearly against it because they are saying this leads to job insecurity and it undermines the national assets that are present with the public sector. Other than that, the second major reason for which there has been the strike is the implementation of 4 labor codes. So, namely Industrial Relation Code, then we have Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code, Code on Wages and Social Security Code. All of these codes have been combined in the name of ease of doing business and facilitating business, and also bringing rights and facilitation to workers also. But trade unions feel otherwise. They have said, if we talk about Industrial Relations Code, they have clearly highlighted that it restricts the right to strike, and it also weakens the trade union. If we talk about the second code, they have highlighted that it is diluting safety norms, and the code on wages and social security is basically useless, because even though it has consolidated the existing laws, but the workers are not getting any benefit, and in reality there is no improvement in terms of practice. Now, critics have clearly argued these codes might have simplified or merged. They might be easier to understand now, but they have increased working hours, they have reduced grievance redressal options, and they are corporate favoring. So in the starting, if you remember, we talked about the objective of this strike, where it was saying that government is making corporate favoring policies. This is another reason where this strike is objectively towards the government favoring the corporates. Now, other than that, there is also the concern of workforce suppression. Now, Indian Labour Conference used to take place regularly, but surprisingly in last 10 years, that means almost a decade, there has been no Indian Labour Conference. Furthermore, the tripartite consultation, that means between the government, between the employers and employees, that used to take place, that has been bypassed. And further, whenever legislation in recent times have been made, they have been passed through ordinances or without parliamentary debate. This clearly highlights that the workers' side is not being taken into consideration, and this is one form of suppression that we see, especially of workers in terms of representation. Other reasons include the concern of socio-economic justice, where in the country the rising unemployment is a big concern. We also have with that stagnant wages. People are unemployed, who are employed, they are not able to earn enough to accommodate with the higher rising prices that exist in the economy, and this leads to the parity that we see between the rich and poor. When we are talking about socio-economic justice, at these numbers and at these facts, it seems more like injustice, and there has been decline in social sector spending by the government in terms of health, education and sanitation, which is deepening, further enhancing the inequalities that I was talking about. Moreover, another reason that has been brought to front is the fact that there are attacks on democratic rights. Many bills such as Public Security Bill in states like Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh are the reason of mass protests. Furthermore, defranchisement of migrant workers, the special intensive revision of the electoral voters that is taking place in Bihar, it is being seen that this is an attempt to disenfranchise the migrant workers. So they are being targeted through the revision. If you want to understand the details of special intensive revision that is happening in Bihar, you can watch this particular video, which is available in the playlist of Flash News. Now, there is this whole crackdown on dissent, which is seen as an attack on democratic spaces and constitutional freedoms. Now, this protest is broadly attacking all these concerns, and it is focusing on the erosion of citizenship rights that have been seen in recent times. For example, they have allegations that there is this idea and moves to make sure that certain people or certain communities, their citizenship is snatched. For example, this is drawing reference to NRC or CAA-like debates. They also clearly show there is a trust deficit that exists between the government, the workers, marginalized communities, trade unions, etc. Now that we have understood the key allegations, now let us move ahead and talk about what would be the affected areas. Obviously, when we are talking about the formal workers who are participating in this particular bandh, these sectors would be affected. However, transportation, if you are talking about state-run transportation, that is also participating, that might be affected, that might be delayed. But other than that, emergency services are running, schools are running. You will not see more participation from the private sector end, so private offices will be open. the impact of bandhs that you used to see almost 25 years ago is not the same as we see today. It is different because one has to keep the nation running. One cannot shut down schools, one cannot shut down hospitals, but at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that such general nationwide strikes are the symbol of dissent in the democracy and in the right form. Now, this is my question to you. What do you think are the economic implications of such bandhs, as well as you can highlight the governance related implications? You can put those down in the comment section, and now we will be moving on to talk about what are the demands. So this protest is being called, this is a general nationwide strike. Now, what are the demands that they want to be met? So there has been a 17-pointer charter that has been taken out, that these are the demands that we want to be met. Let us look into some of the highlights here. For example, there was a key concern regarding the labor codes. Now there is a direct ask that the labor code should be repealed and the power that they had in terms of collective bargaining should be protected. Trade unions should be protected, trade for norms should be protected, safety norms should be protected. Then furthermore, the privatization that is taking place, so PSUs should not be sold off anymore and there should be proper job security. There should be proper fulfillment of government vacancy and expansion of job creation by the government. They have also asked for the boosting of MGNREGA wages as well as increase in the work days. So if we talk about work days, at present it is 100 days and that is why they are asking to increase the number of work days and the wages which have been fixed with it. Furthermore, they are asking to bring such schemes to urban areas also. MGNREGA applicable in rural areas, but they are asking such applicable schemes to be brought to urban areas as well. There has been a direct demand that the minimum wage should be fixed to the number of 26,000 rupees per month. Universal pension has been asked and social security for all is another demand that is there. Furthermore, there is ask for fair MSP, minimum support price, and pro-farmer reforms, which is directly indicating towards the recent farm bill that we had seen and which drew a lot of protests. So here you can see the total addressal of marginalized communities is being asked in terms of the 17-point charter that has been put forth. Now we have understood the allegation, we have talked about the impact. Now we have understood what they are demanding as solution as well. Now let us move and discuss that when we are speaking about this general nationwide strike, Bharat Bandh, what are the constitutional and legal provisions? Are they legal? Do they have a mandate behind them? What are the articles we are looking towards when we are talking about such strikes? Now, when we talk about fundamental rights, we will start with Article 19. So, when we talk about Article 19, 1A, it explicitly talks about freedom of speech and expression. Then we have Article 9(1)(c), which talks about right to form associations or unions, and Article 19(1)(b), which gives the right to assemble peacefully. Now, given these rights, the formation of associations, unions, or assembling peacefully is a fundamental right. However, we have to remember that it is clear that any sort of strike or bandh that disrupt life or property, they are not protected under fundamental rights. Other than that, if we look at the judgments that have been pronounced, for example, KK Kutty case of 1998, so they have clearly stated, Supreme Court, that bandhs are not a fundamental right if they are infringing the fundamental rights of others. There has been another judgment by Kerala High Court in 2000 which declared that such bandhs are unconstitutional if they are enforced. Furthermore, we have drawn a distinction between strikes and bandhs. For example, strikes are legal in industrial context because if they have been done with a notice as per Industrial Dispute Acts, they will be considered legal. However, if we talk about bandhs, that means public shutdown is taking place and it will disrupt essential service. That means it will infringe upon other people's fundamental rights. That means the legality of this particular act might be questioned, and it depends on the methods that would be used in the strike. Now, that was all from my side. If you have any doubts or concerns, you can put it down in the comment section. Thank you so much.